I'd like to kind of pull up our next presenter, and that is going to be Diana Seung with Camber Outdoors. She's the interim executive director and someone who's been in the industry for a long time, working in the running and footwear world and backcountry.com, right? As a senior leader there. So she has a lot of insight to share, and I won't give it a title, but I'll just let you talk about what you want to talk about. All right? Welcome, Diane.
Hi, everyone. So I see some familiar faces, but a lot of the faces in here are pretty new to me, and I know I'm probably new to a lot of you too. So I've spent a lot of time this week just listening and learning. And some of the themes that I keep hearing about doing DEI work in this community is about building trust and, giving, one-to-one feedback to each other and encouraging and embracing differences. And at the root of it all, a lot of that comes down to relationships and building relationships. But what I think is really hard at OR is to build those relationships when you're going from meeting to meeting, from event to event, and you never really get to know the people in this room on a more deeper level. And so I would like to spend a little time telling you a little bit about me and wearing the Diana Seung hat, and then transition and move into the Diana Seung hat with Camber Outdoors, if that's okay. Really in an effort to help build that relationship with each and every one of you, with hopes that all of you will share your journeys with me as well. So my parents moved to the States in the 70s from Korea to PG County, Maryland, which, if any of you are from Maryland, know that PG County is a predominantly Black demographic. Woo! And my father was a small business owner, and he had a shop that sold a lot of different shit. Like, there was jewelry, there was like hair weaves, there were backpacks, like a lot of like random stuff. And as a kid, I wondered why my mom wouldn't let me take home a hair weave and use it. And now as an adult, I understand why. My father used to sell dime bags to drug dealers, and now as an adult, I understand why he hid it underneath the cash register. And that was him making a living for the family. When I was about 5 years old, my parents moved us from PG County to Montgomery County, which is a predominantly white demographic. But the area that we lived, we ended up going to public schools that were actually extremely diverse. And my high school was actually predominantly Black. And then fast forward to, college, I went to upstate New York, and I decided to study the more cultural route and focus on sociocultural anthropology, because I was really keen on learning about indigenous groups, globally. I minored in Africana studies, largely because the professors were some of the best, and it was really interesting to learn about history from the viewpoint of a Black historian, because we all grew up learning it from the white perspective. It's a very different perspective. And I concentrated in Asian American studies because those are my roots. And then as an adult, I went to go work in the fashion industry in New York City and spent quite a bit of time there. I moved to San Francisco too, and then back to New York. And so it wasn't about 3 years ago when I moved to Park City, Utah, probably one of the most undiverse locations you can move to work for backcountry.com. And so I say all this because I took for granted being exposed and having diversity around me and always feeling like I belonged and was included until I got to this industry. And it was really eye-opening. And for those of you who came to the luncheon earlier this week, I shared some of my first experiences in the industry of attending OR. And here I was, only leader within backcountry, check. Oh, and I was Asian too, check, right? And I'm in these meetings, and it was a lonely place, right? And so, when I think about this work and the community that's working so hard to make the industry more diverse, that resonates really personally for me. So thank you for all of you who do this work day in, day out, because I know it's not easy. So I, got introduced to Camber very early on. Thank you, Amy Luther, for reaching out. And I thank Camber for a lot of things because, quite frankly, if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have stayed in the industry. They helped bridge the gap and help me feel included and make introductions to other women in the industry. And when I first joined, Camber was still focused on women and gender equity. And so, they were pretty pivotal in helping my path and helping me be successful in the outdoors. And so, when everything kind of came about this past OR with Camber and things kind of blew up, and I had this opportunity to step into the ED role, I did it largely because I really appreciate what the organization did for me. And we have to recognize that this organization's been around for 23 years. And it was started by two women who really wanted to convene and give other women the opportunity to have a place that was safe, to network, to have mentoring opportunities, to build relationships. And it's since evolved to be more than that, because we recognize the problem is larger than just gender. And so, yeah, we've made mistakes and we've learned a lot. And, part of my topic today is around embracing change. We've had to embrace a lot of change from what we've learned. We've embraced change at the leadership level, right? We've had some change within the staff. And we've had to change our behaviors, quite frankly. We've learned that, we skirted around a lot of these DEI topics, whether it was the language we were using and not calling things what they were, not calling things discrimination or racism or tokenization. And you quite honestly can't be part of the conversation unless you're being really real and actually talking about it honestly. I think we've also learned that, we have this privilege as an organization. We partner with a lot of corporations, over 200 in fact, and there's a lot of privilege that comes with that and the influence that we drive. And so, I've gotten some feedback from folks of, we don't think Camber should be doing this work, step away, let someone else do it. And quite frankly, we're not giving up. And in large part, it's because we have this privilege and influence to help CEOs and organizations do this work. And we want to be able to partner with those out in the community to help us do that. Because we recognize it's not just going to be done by us. And, as Kenji mentioned, it's not just going to be done by one organization. It's going to take several to accomplish the change. So we recognize that, and we're going to use that justly, and we're going to make sure that, we involve those and get the input of those around us to do the work appropriately and fairly. But, that's been a huge change for us. We've also changed the look and feel of our staff. A lot of the staff are here today. Raise your hands. I'm going to put you on the spot. We've added some new folks to the team. And we recognize that if we're going to be focused on equity and diversity efforts, then we have to have those viewpoints and voices at the table too. And we didn't necessarily have that in the past, quite frankly. And so internally, we've shifted the way we talk as an organization, the way we are open and honest about, these different issues, and the way we interact with the partners that we engage with as well. I think, something else too is, we've learned that, we have to listen. And so I think, in the past, Camber has tried to take the stage and say, we're the organization that's doing this work. It's only us. And we've learned that that's just not how this works. That's not how inclusivity works. And, we are being active listeners because we know this is a learning and evolution. And, I've heard that from a lot of, experienced leaders in this room today or across the week. So, we're actively listening. And so I thank you to, thank all those in this room who have actually provided feedback, who have been honest with us because it's helped us. And we're embracing that feedback and embracing that change because it's needed. When Kenji asked me to come up here last week when he called and he said, yeah, I'd really like you to speak, I thought to myself, God, seriously? Like, no, you can give the podium to someone else, and, we don't need to talk. And, he reminded me, very, very friendly reminder of, Camber's been doing this work for a really long time, and it would be really meaningful for you to be out there and talk on behalf of the organization. And I'm like, but Kenji, I don't know anything about this space, and who am I to talk about an organization that really screwed up? And Kenji reminded me, he's like, yeah, but that's okay. We need to learn from that. And so that was a really solid reminder of why DEI work is so great, because it allows you to involve new people like me, who may not be the most expert in the room, to be part of this community. And so thank you, Kenji, for letting me feel like I belong and for welcoming me. So I guess my ask really is to help Camber feel like we belong, because we want to be part of this journey. And we want to do the work too. And the women in the organization, I have to say, are some of the most authentic and genuine women you'll meet. And they have stood by this organization through everything that's happened, because they truly believe in equity and inclusivity and diversity and the benefits of that and the benefits for the community and the industry. And so I hope that all of you can welcome us the way Kenji so nicely welcomed me here today. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you, Diana. That was beautiful, and I think a good reminder about forgiveness. I think that's kind of implied in a lot of relationship things individually. I think there's great music about that, but it's meaningful to feel that and to offer that, and that kind of appreciate the strength that you bring to stand up and continue the path, right? We're going to get knocked down, we're going to scrape our knee, we're going to make mistakes, but we're not going to give up. I've been doing this a long time. I've taken some arrows here and there, but I feel pretty fortunate. I haven't had too many, but this is a long play. This is a long-term effort that's going to show payoffs down the road. I know that REI was doing this work like 15 years ago, longer than that, because I don't want to admit my age, but that's when I was getting pulled in. That was a long time ago, and what company in the industry can claim 300% increase in business and 200 stores and the firepower that they bring? I connect it directly back to my experience with them. But that was a while ago. I'm sure they weren't seeing, invest in Q1 and in Q4 we're going to see all the payoff. That's not how it works. In this case particularly, we're changing a culture, we're changing a paradigm for a whole industry for the better.